Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ham Radio Answers. And what we're going to do today is something a little bit offbeat. I'm going to review a drone. Why a drone, you ask? Well, some hams want to use them for inspecting their antennas or just like to play with them because they're radio controlled toys. This kind of gives away its purpose right up here where it says it's for ages 12 plus. Okay, it's not like one of the DJI drones that's expensive and has a lot of onboard electronics that help keep it super steady. This is made by DoDoEleph, and they've got a little logo here that shows an elephant with its trunk. Okay, and then the brand name itself is Syma, S-Y-M-A, and it is the X56W Folding Wizard. Now, if you go look at their website is filled with radio control things, little helicopters, lots of different kinds of drones with varying features. This has a camera in it and a promise that you can use it for first-person view, although I never did make that work. But first, let's see what's inside the box, shall we? All right, here's the box. And it's got an interesting construction on the side here. These fold out. Pull out what's inside. Your own space in the sky, it says. And it says a customized thanks card. And it says, thanks for your purchase. Notice that they've got a good Facebook presence. It's, again, www.symatoys.com, S-Y-M-A-T-O-Y-S.com. Toys is in the name. This is a toy drone. It's not expected to do professional type things like a DJI. There's a little user's manual in here that covers all the different kinds of things you can do with the controller. It bears close reading because of the complexities of translating into English. You kind of have to study out each sentence 2 or 3 times just to figure out what they mean. Now it has a plastic cover that kind of holds things in place. And over here we have the controller. It's an interesting controller. These are the main controls. They are also push buttons. Each of them is a push button. And they have little trimming controls down here. This is digital. And you can see right here that if you push a trimming control to the side, that's down at the bottom here, you see how that moves over to the side. So you have a little bit of control over just where the center is for these type things. The DJI, that takes care of it itself. With a toy like this, you have to have some skill at flying. You can tell this is toy. If you look right down here, you see how it's got this arrows and an OK button. That's just plastic decoration. It doesn't actually do anything. Similarly, these buttons are over here are just plastic decoration. Now the 2.4 gig means it's Wi-Fi. We're using Wi-Fi for this, okay? So, which actually is a pretty good idea. It works pretty well. This right here is your on and off button. These are the trimmers for this. This right here is up, down. Now this is swivel the aircraft to the left, swivel it to the right. This is go forward, go backward, go sideways, okay? Now, one of the things you can immediately get in trouble with this thing right here is that you end up not knowing where the aircraft, where the front of the aircraft is. It will perfectly happily fly backwards. There is a way to avoid that by pushing this once, which should mean that all actions here are relative to the controller. So no matter where the craft is, if you pull it back, it should come toward you. Well, I didn't have real good luck with that. There's a light here that comes on sort of to indicate that the thing is on. Okay, well, let's keep looking in the box. We have a little card that talks about, oh, this is in German. I don't know why. A lot of Chinese products I get have a warning in German. These are some extra propellers. The white and red propellers are opposite each other. You need to have them on the right hubs over here. Now this is the drone itself, which you can see is quite small. Okay. Now let's see what else is in here before we go on to everything else. Here's a little power cable. Note that this is something that plugs into your computer or a little 5-volt power outlet, spare USB port, and then this is where the battery goes in. This is a spare battery. You get a spare battery, and these connect with this little thing plugging in right there like that, and pull it out and put the other one in. Look at the size of this battery, okay? This is not big, and they advertise 5 minutes of flight time out of this. The thing does not seem to run a large overhead, so if it's just sitting on the ground with the LEDs blinking, it doesn't seem to consume a whole lot of power. So I had more than 5 minutes of total flight time, but when I was flying it, it would be on the ground quite a bit. Okay, so, and that's very handy because you finish one, you can just put in another. Now they say it takes about 170 minutes. That's the best part of 3 hours to charge one of these. These are lithium-ion batteries. Keep an eye on them so that they don't, if they start to get real warm, disconnect the power immediately. You might want to heat them on something that's not flammable. Okay, so we'll set those aside. There is a screwdriver in here. It's kind of nice that they would include the tool that you have to use to do any kind of repairs. One of the things that they outline in the book is all the different individual parts you can get for your drone should you crash it or do something like that. So you can get parts. So there is a little package of little tiny, and I do mean little tiny screws. Look how small they are compared to my thumb. Okay, these are tiny little screws. And what they hold on are these clips that go under the propellers, so that if you bounce into something like that, you won't hurt the propeller. I never did put these on. One of the problems with putting these on is that you can no longer fold up the drone with those on, so you'd have to take them off and be careful not to lose those little screws. I never broke a propeller. In all the things I did, I crashed it a lot. Reminded me of the very first drone I had, which was a Parrot AR 2.0. So, to unfold this, on the bottom there are the buttons. There, and there. Okay, so this button releases that arm, and it sort of snaps into place. All right, and you see that the thing is getting substantially larger as you unplug it. Okay, so here's the drone, the actual drone right here. All right, so let's take a look at the drone. We've got these two types of blades here. Notice that the pitch on this one is different from the pitch on this one. It's opposite. This has the same pitch as this one. This has the same pitch as this one, which seems kind of a backwards way of doing it. To turn the drone on, you push this button. It's a hard button to push. Now, note here, there are lights in here, and you push the button. If you just push it so that the lights come on for a second, it doesn't stay on. You have to push it until the lights start to blink. Okay? And there are lights, the green lights up here in the front of the drone, the red lights in the back of the drone. This little thing right here is the camera, which has no anti-vibration mount or anything. And this has a separate link over Wi-Fi to your cell phone, presumably for point of view monitoring. Now, one of the things to note is that you can fly this with the cell phone. You don't need the controller. Personally, I really prefer the controller to fly. I just feel like I've got a lot more control, although I never felt like I had a lot of control in this drone. And then just use the camera as the point of view monitor. I have found a number of times with my DJI that I could see it, but I couldn't tell what direction it was pointed in. I'd have to use the point of view camera on the front and see from there where it was pointed, move it around until I recognized something, and then I could fly it home. This thing I never had very high. It did get lodged in a tree once. We were able to knock it down out of there. It's hit a lot of things, hasn't broken the propellers, but has messed up one of the motors here. So this is the drone. The controller is turned on by just pushing that switch like that. And if you, to start the drone, you push up like that. Now I've got two here that are going. Okay. These two I've got a problem with because I hit something too hard with them. I haven't taken them apart yet to find out what's going on. Notice down here you can see the position of the various controllers. Okay, and where the adjustments are for the, I kind of forget the word for that. Anyway, they're adjustments. Yes, I've hit my fingers with these. Yes, it does hurt. Now this is an interesting little button up here. You push this button and the drone will do a flip. And the direction of the flip, you have to push the button kind of while you're pushing this over to the side to give it the direction in which to flip. And it does flip. I showed that yesterday. I've got some video from yesterday. We went up to a church parking lot so I could have a little bit more room because I was tired of it running into things here. And my goal was to show I could make it hover, a goal I never achieved, but I do have some pictures there of the flight. Let's take a look. Okay, now we've seen the drone. This is the camera right here. This part just comes out, and it tells you in the manual that you have to install the camera. Mine came with the camera installed. There's a couple little buttons in there, or a couple little LEDs in there. The battery is under here. There is actually a screw hole right there, so you can screw it in. You push that back, and then it flips up, and then the battery comes out. You have to hold this manually and carefully take that apart so you don't yank something out of the drone. Okay, so it does work. This thing is remarkably light. It's much lighter than my DJI by quite a bit. Let's set this aside for a moment. Okay, now let's take a peek. Honestly, I didn't mean to do that. Let's look at the user manual. Okay, it says 6-axis gyro direction stabilizer, ensuring precision positioning. Boy, I never found that to be the case. So these are all the things that are available in it. Oh, I forgot to mention one item. And what did I do with it? Okay, this fits over the fake antenna here. You take out your cell phone, and this thing is a clamp. See how big that is? And that's nice soft rubber in there. So you can put your cell phone in there. And then when you look at the video from the front of this thing right here, you can see what it's seeing. Now, what you do to do that is this thing has a Wi-Fi transmitter that's right here, and this is the little antenna for the Wi-Fi transmitter right here. So you have to open up the phone to, you go to Syma Go, okay, right there. Oh, first, before you do that, you have to go to Settings, and then to the network, pick the first-person view feature there, okay, and then go back here to the Syma Go. Starts the software. Okay, and now I'm holding the drone and pointing it at different things, and you'll see that it's looking at through the camera right here. Now, one of the things to notice here, we put it here so you can see it really easily. You can control the drone. These are the equivalent of the joysticks here. Now, I ran into trouble with this because when these were on the screen, I couldn't just, all I wanted was the first person view. But there are some little options down here, which really aren't explained anywhere. But these will allow you to look at pictures you've taken, like in here, there, let's see, from the memory card, and we'll look at movies. Oh, I don't have any recorded this way. They record the ones that you record this way separate from the way they record it if you just use this. The instruction manual talks about a memory card in here in the camera, but I'll be doggone if I can find one. There just doesn't seem to be a place for one anywhere. So, in any event, we've got that. And in theory, you can do first-person view from this. Now, I was able to get it to work a few times where I was able to see what the camera saw, okay, and then control it. See, now that doesn't do anything. That's supposed to turn the, oh. Okay. So that does turn the drone on. That's with the controller. Different gestures seem to work at different times. You can also control it from right here. I'm not going to try to do that because it's going to try and take off if I do that. Okay. So, I think we have shown about everything we can just looking at the drone. It talks about what's in the package, how you put the protector guards on, but remember you can't fold the thing up once you've put the protector guards on. Phone clip assembly, how to turn the thing on. You need to put, I think it's four AA's in this thing. Okay. Now, it shows how to charge it, plug it into a USB outlet. There is no 110 to USB charger converter in the package. So you have to use a computer or an existing one. Okay, shows what the different things do. There's this is the flip button right here, as I mentioned. This right here gives you a slow and a fast mode. I would describe it as a fast and faster mode. Okay, and there's the joystick. The LCD screen is actually of some use. Okay, and then it shows how to actually take the thing off, switching on the aircraft, switching off the aircraft. See, you're supposed to be able to do this. All right, by pulling it like that. Or by pulling them both in like that. Okay. Now, it talks about methods of operating the aircraft. This is the bare minimum. I would recommend that you go to a very large field, several acres, a place with no obstructions. We went to a church parking lot to really test the thing out. And note here they show the drone all folded up without the guards on there. Okay, and then it shows in here how you push the buttons and you can fold it back up. There's a restart. Now there's something called a level calibration. Put this thing on a level surface and put these both down like this, and that calibrates the level on that thing. There's a pressure hovering height adjustment. There's talk about what to do if this thing flies off sideways when you start it up, and they did that every time regardless of what I did. Which is another reason to do it in a place with lots of wide open spaces, because then you have a chance to get the thing under control before it hits something. Okay, and it talks here about how to use the Wi-Fi. Oh, there's something called headless. This is the one where you push the button, and now the drone, these controls here are directions. Whoops. Off. This is the one I was talking about where it will always be pointed toward you. That's a very nice feature. There is a extremely brief description on these 2 pages of the features having to do with the wireless. Okay. See now, oh, I don't have first person view connected. Okay. I unplugged the camera. Okay, and a few rectification procedures. In other words, things to try if it goes wrong. Note how many things, pretty much the entire body cover, lower body, the arms, all of the different parts and pieces are available so that you can fix it. If you buy this at a hobby shop, they might have some of these in stock. Otherwise, you'd have to order them. Okay, now to get the software for the phone, here's a QR code you can use for iPhone or a QR code you can use for the Android phone. Okay, so now how does it fly? Well, I'll tell you how it flies. I tried several times, quite a bit actually, in the backyard, just with the goal of having it fly, just hover, because I'm quite spoiled by the DJI. Now, granted, the DJI's price is approximately 10 times the price of this drone. And so you're going to get what you pay for. And in the case of the DJI Spark, it's just a very steady thing. It's extremely easy to fly. Whereas this one here, I have to admit, I think a 12-year-old probably would have done a lot better than I did in terms of anticipating what the drone was doing and so on. So somebody who's used to flying model aircraft would find this pretty easy. Now, let's take a look at some flying. We got a few pictures while I was trying to fly it in the church parking lot, and you get a few ideas of the behavior of the drone. Hover. Okay, up we go. Now, oops, you can get it to come back. Just want it to hover. Look out, going over there. What do I think of the drone? It's a toy. It claims to be a toy. Does it work? Yes, absolutely it works. The range isn't huge. When I was in the church parking lot, I did manage to fly it out of range a couple times. At least it landed, which was very nice of it, although I had to walk over and pick it up. I think it'd be great for somebody who just wants to play with one of these. If you want to take like pictures to inspect your antenna system or something, you're going to need to use something like the DJI. But if you want to just play and have some fun and try your hand at controlling an aircraft and seeing if you can adjust those controls, by all means go ahead. It is priced in such a way that if you do break it, you can just get yourself another one, because the price is quite reasonable, and you can get it on Amazon. There's a link below that shows where you can get it on Amazon. There's one link that was provided by the company, DoDoEleph, and there's a link that I'm providing to the same page that will allow me to get a little bit of a finder's fee. The drone was provided to me for free by DoDoEleph in exchange for a review. I've given that review. The fun little thing to play with. I would recommend for serious work that you look at the DJIs. All right, there we go. In channel news, please check out Patreon. I'm kind of pushing Patreon these days at www.patreon, P-A-T-R-A, Patreon, Patreon.com/KE0OG. And it goes to my page there, and you can pledge anything from $1 a month on up. Got one guy who actually has pledged $50 a month, and I very, very much appreciate that. It helps keep the channel going and allows me to get the equipment I need and upgrades as necessary and replace things that are broken and so on. And I do fairly often, I'd say close to a third of the time, I actually buy the object I'm reviewing. And you'll know that my reviews are always honest. This is a case where I'm calling a drone a toy. Okay. And so, until we next meet, 73.